Welcome to Too Old, Too New, the music discovery podcast that brings you something old, something new, something Nate, something Bruce. I'm Nate Runkle, host of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast, and with me, as always, is my good friend Bruce Warren from WXPN. The premise of this show is simple. Each episode, we bring you two songs apiece. One new song that's been metaphorically spinning our turntable platters, and one old song that we believe still absolutely matters. Happy New Year, my friend!
Yeah, motherfucker. How you doing?
I'm good, man. We made it. Another year.
Oh, my God. We barely made it. You know, I was reading somebody's Substack who said 2025 is just dress rehearsal for 2026, and we're only 3 fucking days into the year, and God damn it, I need a fucking drink and a cigarette right now.
I was telling a friend of mine this morning when I woke up that this a year-long feeling of helplessness can't be healthy. Can't be healthy at all.
Yeah.
I just like some light at the end of the tunnel, and I don't really see any.
Well, there will be light at the end of the tunnel, and we are going to have to take every advantage of it. But today, you know, to stay clear of all the insanity today, I actually baked scones, blueberry scones.
Hell yeah.
And then I made some beef stew, which I'm going to tear into right after we're done.
Yeah, so, that sounds good.
I was in the kitchen for, I was on the radio, and I was in the kitchen for like 3 or 4 hours, just putzing around and making some food, listening to some jazz, getting ready for this, thinking of all the witty things I was going to say. So I my wife Beth came home from work and said, "What's going on?" I was like, "Well, I tried to stay out of the news pretty much all day, and I've been successful. So, hey, here we are, Nate. Good to see you. Right. Let's rock. Let's rock." That's
right. Here we are, with the blanketed in the safety and warmness of good music. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I want to touch on before we get into our songs and everything we want to talk about is 2025 is over. All these 2025 recaps and year-end reviews and stuff like that have come out, and I gotta give a shout out and a high five, we haven't talked about this yet, to the WXPN web team, who the video packages that you guys were doing around the favorite albums and stuff like that of 2025, absolutely phenomenal. So cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
And And now I have to ask you, why does everybody like Goose or Geese? I watched the video and I still don't get I like the album a lot, but everybody is really into it, and I know it was your number one, right, for 2025. What is it about the album? And this isn't I'm not passing any judgment or anything. I said in the comments of one of the posts that one of my favorite things is no, I would say 78% of the stuff that was on the top of my list isn't on anybody else's list. And I think that's an awesome indication of how much great music is out there to be discovered and stuff like that. So I like, when things, but the general consensus across critics everywhere is this Geese album. And what is it for you that stands out about it?
Well, for me, it was uniquely unique. I think, there's a big fat middle of mediocrity in indie rock these days.
Yes.
And there has been. And I think every decade there's a big fat, middle of mediocrity in all kinds of genres of music. But I think, one of my comparisons, two of my comparisons, I remember hearing Remain in Light by Talking Heads for the first time. I remember hearing OK Computer for the first time. And I was like, okay, this is shit that I've not kind of heard yet in rock and roll. So I felt the same. I got the same feelings when I heard the Geese record for the very first time. And it didn't make any sense to me at all. It was chaotic and didn't sound like anything else I had listened to over the last year plus. And it just struck me, and I just kept listening to it over and over and over again. I just kept getting sucked in.
It's awesome. It's something that and Cameron's solo album are two things that are on my list of things to revisit in the next week or so, as we're in the January of slow releases to no releases.
Yeah, and here's a secret. I did not like Cameron's solo record.
Really? Okay.
I could not stand it, actually.
Wow.
And I've warmed up to it a little bit via Geese. But I want to go back to something else you said. Yeah, I think I spent like probably like you did, like a week or two going through so many lists, and there wasn't a lot of consensus, and which I think is a great thing. To your point, there was so much music. I kept looking at people's lists, going, "What is this?" And I think I probably listened to 200 individual songs from different people's lists of music that I had not known about at all. And, for us music fans, that's a really good thing. I did
Yeah.
find one thing, and I'll get to it. But anyway, your point, well made and well taken. Yeah.
Well, speaking of music in 2025, you had a very exciting experience that kind of leads into your old pick. So why don't we kind of dig into that?
Yeah. So listen, the last couple of weeks I was sick, and the reason why I was sick was because I overdid it at the War on Drugs, Drugcember to Remember shows here in Philadelphia. I went to 3 out of 4 of them, and I go in hard for my guys and Eliza. And the shows were amazing. They were at a very small, intimate venue called Johnny Brenda's, for those who are not familiar with it, who live outside the area, or even if you're from Philly and you've never been to JB's, you should check it out. Anyway, they fundraising raiser shows, benefit shows for the Fun School Fund, the Philadelphia School District Fund. I think that's what it's called. And on the third and fourth nights, well, they had special guests all week. One night they had Craig Finn play. Another night they had Kurt Vile play. But for 2 nights, they had the legendary Joe fucking Walsh play. That's right. Down, 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 down. Funk 49, Rocky Mountain Way, In the City, Hotel California. I mean, come on. Meadows, Life's Been Good to Me. And it was mind-blowing to see Joe Walsh on stage with the War on Drugs. And so my old pick is Rocky Mountain Way, because he came out, people were fucking freaking out. And it was just incredible to see Joe, who's 78 maybe now, still rocking it. So let's listen to a little bit of Rocky Mountain Way. I mean, he was playing all those parts, dude. It was just amazing. And Adam and Adam were just fucking battling it out.
Did you know in advance? Oh,
no.
Okay.
No. So, I love the Drugs, and I've seen them dozens of times now, and they're always amazing, but I never really know. Well, I kind of know that what do I want to say? I kind of never really know if they're having a good time playing, because they take their shit very seriously when they're rocking out.
Yeah.
But when Joe Walsh walked on the stage, every single member of the band's faces just lit up. The smiles just were like ear to ear. And I was just very happy for them. Anyway, it was pretty good. There's video and there's audio of this thing out there up on the YouTubes. So you may want to check it out, though. It's pretty outstanding. And Joe still got it, man. He's unbelievable.
I think if I remember correctly, my text to you was just Joe fucking Walsh. Like I missed. Every year I miss the Drugcember shows. I've never made it to one, and I always regret it. But this year I was just like, this was like just the most FOMO I've ever felt in my life. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, they're great. They played 2 new songs over the course of the 4 nights that they played that may or may not be on the album. But, I got to hand it to Johnny Brenda's, the crew at Johnny Brenda's and the War on Drugs crew. Every time I see them in that venue, the sound is exquisite. It is just perfect. And it's amazing how they can, pull it down without stripping it down. And it still sounds so powerful and so exquisitely clear. So like hats off to their team, man, because they know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, that venue is definitely one of my favorites. There's even if you get stuck at the bar, like over by the bar, it still sounds great, and you can still see it's incredible. Just an absolutely incredible venue.
Yeah, there's a bunch of pinch points in Johnny Brenda's. That is my most favorite pinch point, though, because you can either go in or you can go out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anyway, so what do you got, dude?
So for mine, the end of the year, December 30th, right before the turn of the clocks or the turn of the year and all of that good stuff, is a birthday shared by two gentlemen. December 30th, and that is Mike Nesmith and Davy Jones, both of the Monkees. They both were born, both
I didn't
had
know
the same
that.
birthday. Yeah. So for my old pick, I was, I wanted to go through and kind of, I had made a post, right, about like how much I love and miss Nesmith. Nesmith was one of like my guys. He was one of my big influences as a kid because I thought he was the coolest person in the world on the Monkees. And then as I got older and I started discovering his solo music and stuff like that, he became an influence yet again as a musician and a songwriter. And my favorite Nesmith track of all time is Some of Shelley's Blues. There is a version that they recorded with the Monkees that you can find on, I want to say like Missing Links Volume 2 maybe or something like that. And then but Mike's version from And the Hits Keep Coming. Is that what it's on? I can't remember which album it's on. It might be on I can't remember. The point is, Some of Shelley's Blues is an absolutely beautiful song and is kind of like my North Star in songwriting. So that's what I'm picking for my old pick. This is Michael Nesmith's Some of Shelley's Blues. When someone breaks your heart, you cry. There's a great version of him.
Sounds so good.
It's the best. There's a great version of him doing that solo acoustic on the old, I want to say it was when Greg Kinnear was hosting Later. I think that's who the host was at the time. But it's up on YouTube and it's absolutely stellar. I should have actually played that version. I don't know what I'm doing. But no, that song was always a favorite of mine. And then I did get to see him solo 2 or 3 times before he passed. And even in his old age, could still absolutely nail that song.
You mentioned Mickey Dolenz. I will tell you that I have a Mickey Dolenz story, but I can't tell it because it's not sufficient for work or home listening. I'll just put it that. I told people that story the other day. They were like, "Oh, gross." But back to Mike Nesmith, though, he's just a fantastic songwriter, and guitar player as well. Like,
yes.
Very tasty, very tasty. So good pull there, dude. Nice.
Thank you. So that was December 30th. And then, of course, the New Year's. We're in the new year, 2026. We're here. What are some of the things you're looking forward to in 2026?
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing more live music. I will tell you that may not be the answer you're looking for, but, I go out, a few times a month. Sometimes, like I'm not going to go out now probably for a week or so, and then I'm going to hit like 3 or 4 shows. But there's nothing like live music, man. And that's what I kind of, relearned last year with the amount of time, now that I'm not working full time, I've been trying to go out to see more live music and relearning how to love live music. So that's what I'm looking forward to from a performance standpoint, live performance standpoint. The other thing is I'm totally, I'm waiting for the new Courtney Barnett record. I'm hoping that there's a new War on Drugs record. I'm very excited because Jill Scott just announced a new record, just put out the first song from it, and it's like kind of an instant classic Jill Scott song. So we'll see. How about you? What are you looking forward to?
On the live music front, it's been since 2021 maybe that I've been waiting anxiously for Pearl Charles to come back to the East Coast, and I believe her and Michael Rowell are playing in February, I think, in town, something like that.
Really?
So,
wow.
Yeah. So
okay.
I'm excited about that. I got to get to that one. From a release standpoint, I mean, we're getting new Alabama Shakes. I can't wait for that. From what I understand, this month, I think we're getting another Lexa Gates album, who is like my favoriteest new artist of the past 2 years. And then the big one for me we got new Robbie Williams, and that's all I care about. Um, so that's the big thing is I'm looking forward to this year from a music standpoint, from a life standpoint. I'm having a son in March,
That is right. That is right.
so and that's the other reason why like I'm trying to get as much in the beginning of the year because I know that my time is about to be to be evaporating. Um, but
Hey, dude, let me tell you, parenthood isn't for everybody. I get it. But for those of us who are parents, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And my guys are up in their 20s now, and um, I still kind of look back at those very, very early days and with a lot of whatever, and it's a beautiful thing, dude.
I'm so excited. I am
It,
beyond excited.
it's better than any new release you will ever listen to. I promise you that.
I don't know. New Robbie Williams in February, though.
Come
No,
on,
I'm
dude.
just
You're
kidding.
such a
I'm just kidding.
nerd.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Um,
You're
but
such a nerd.
but so with the kid coming, like I'm not sure like what the status of Yo That's My Jawn's going to be. It's not going to go away, but like obviously I can't dedicate as much time to it. But one of the things I'm thinking about doing, and I'm going to say this right now to put it out there because that will kind of hold my feet to the fire when I say things publicly. Then I have to do them, obviously. I'm looking to do a collection of a bunch of interviews from the podcast as a book. And I'm gonna self-publish that.
Oh, cool.
One of the things that kind of inspired that is I was looking at my bookshelf and I saw this little book from a little radio station called WXPN, and it was the Collected World Cafe interviews. And I was like, wait a minute, I have enough interviews that I could probably put out a collection. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to curate some of my favorite interviews and self-publish and release that. And one of the ones that I definitely am putting in there is an interview that I did in season 2. I think it might have kicked off season 2, and it was an interview with Michael McDermott. Michael McDermott was a singer-songwriter, early 90s. He had a critically acclaimed debut album, 620 West Surf. And he was discovered and signed by Brian Koppelman, who found Tracy Chapman, Toad the Wet Sprocket, and all that. And he was supposed to be the next big thing. He was supposed to be the next Dylan, the next Springsteen. And then the album did not do what they wanted it to do. We had a conversation. I reached out to him because back in 2006, this is a crazy story, but I used to host an open mic night in the city. In Head House Square, and one night some guy came in with a bunch of people, and they kept coming up to me and my co-host, and they were like, "You got to get this guy up and let him play. You got to let him play." And I'm like, "It's an open mic night. He can do whatever he wants." And they're like, "No, you're gonna have to beg him because he's not just gonna do it." And I was like, and I was an asshole back then. I was like, "I'm not begging anybody." So finally, they wouldn't leave us alone. So I go up and I go, "Yo, your friends want you to play. I don't care what you do, but you either got to play or tell them to shut up." I was like, and so he gets up, he plays, and the next day I Google him, and it was Michael McDermott. And
No
so,
way.
yeah. So yeah, I
Wow.
told you I was an asshole. I told him all about this. So like, I set up this interview because I wanted to apologize for probably being a jerk or whatnot.
Oh, that's so sweet, dude.
And so I go to do this, and before he goes, before we even get started in this interview, he's like, "I got to tell you something." He's like, "I don't normally do podcasts like this or whatnot, but he's like, but my publicist sent me a video of your interview, and he was like, 'Nate, you have such a personality, and it's so infectious. I had to come on the show.'" And I was just sitting there like, "Oh, I am a dick." Like, I am a giant dick. But we had what was one of the most important conversations I've ever had on the podcast, because it was the first time I had an interview where I was like, "Oh, fuck, this is what I want this show to be." And we talked about his entire career, the ups, the downs. And like, it was just, I got done that interview and I was like, "Oh my God, this is a real thing. This is no longer a hobby. This is a real thing." So I hold Michael McDermott in high regard because his kindness essentially is the reason why this podcast lasted more than just a year.
That's awesome, dude.
So what I picked today is the very first new album that I listened to in 2026. It's got a 2026 date on it, even though this thing was recorded in 1992. Michael McDermott, when the 620 West Surf failed, went to Seattle and worked on a rock album. and
Right.
it was produced by the guy who Rich Parashar, who produced. Or Rick Parashar, who produced Pearl Jam 10, Alice in Chains Dirt,
Mhm.
and all the Seattle Temple of the Dog, all those grunge classics.
Mhm.
And the album never came out. He took it
Mhm.
to the label. It happened to occur during the LA riots when he went, and the label just wasn't feeling it, and it was never released, and he had no access to it. But recently found some tapes with some mixes on it, and so he released this album as titled like the Lost Seattle album or something like that.
Wow.
And so this song that it was the longest diatribe to get to my new pick. But this is Burning at the Stake by Michael McDermott featuring a young gentleman named Dave Navarro.
Wow.
It's got
That
that
sounds
Highway
great.
61 shuffle to it, you know? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That sounds really good.
The whole album, I mean, it's definitely of a time.
Mhm.
Like there's no mistaking when it was recorded, but
I'm
it sounds great. And like I've always really liked Mike's songwriting. Like he just crafts really great songs. And he's still out there performing. He comes like yearly, I think, to like City Winery.
Yeah, he comes to Philly at least once a year. I saw him the last time he was here. We were huge supporters of the early part of his career. 620 West Surf is incredible. It came out, I think, in '91. I think that's when it came out. And then he had a series of records. I remember Last Chance Lounge was also a really big record. When I say big, meaning we played it a lot at WXPN over the years. But he's a troubadour, and he's had a very tough life, but he's made it through, and music saved it. So what can I tell you? Beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna have to check this out. I have no idea that Michael put this out, so I'll definitely be on the lookout for it and listen for it. Even more importantly,
I think it just came out on Friday. So like,
good stuff. Good
yeah. What do
stuff.
you got for new?
So, of the couple hundred songs that I listened to over the last 2 weeks of records that I knew nothing about that came out last year, I stumbled onto this band who call themselves Goon. And they are from Los Angeles, and they put out a record, I guess last summer, called Dream 3. And it's a pretty amazing record. Some of the reviews, like, they're kind of labeled shoegaze, psychedelic, rock and roll-ish, but it's like, again, you asked me about Geese. What attracted me to Geese was the singularity of sound. And I think what has attracted me to Goon, and I've like explored all their music right now over the last week, is their singularity. They're just super original, and they write really amazing songs, and the playing is incredible. So let's do this one. What song did I tell you to play off this record?
Closer to.
All right, yeah. All right, let's run with that. This is Goon, newish music from Goon. They don't sound anything like Flaming Lips, but they remind me of Flaming Lips, and I'll just leave it at that.
I can see that. This was a revelation. I had not heard any of them. I got to dig into more, because like there is, I like the singularity to it. Like there is like a definite kind of sound that this song has that like excites me. Like it's just exciting.
I wish I had written down where I discovered this from, because it was on somebody's list who was a music supervisor. That much I know, because I was looking through a whole bunch of music supervisors' music lists, and that's who I follow now. I don't give a shit about the industry anymore. The music, the record business side of things. I just want to find people who are really into a broad range of music, and just discover it, check it out on my own and see if I like it. So much of, I'm starting to write this article about classic rock, and, classic rock, AOR, classic rock kind of came out of album oriented rock, the format, right? And, I think a lot about now if, if there was always streaming, what kind of impact that would have on people's music consumption. Because for so many years, radio has been formatted and led multiple generations to very focused listening, and that's how the industry has been sort of, organized. And I'm hopeful, and I'm trying to look beyond that organized, ecosystem right now, to find great new music. Because it's not just about what the labels are pushing, or all the fucking websites who write about the same shit are pushing, and the publicists and the promotion people, all really awesome at what they do and are important in helping artists' careers. But there's so much great music that is out there that we aren't even, we're not hearing we're hearing very, very little of it.
Yeah.
And my goal, you asked me what I look forward to in the new year. My goal is to sort of find the shit that nobody else is talking about, only just a few, and help spread the word on that stuff. So, I'll just leave it at that.
What I like to do as a fun exercise in that vein is go on Bandcamp, and you can watch
totally
the live results of people making purchases and stuff like that. And I like sometimes to just click one and say what is this, and should I be listening to it?
Yeah, and I philosophical reasons aside, I have a bunch of friends who have stopped listening to streaming services, and are finding new ways to discover music. And there's joy to be found in that, and that's what I'm really excited about. Anyway,
yes,
good stuff.
Awesome. As always, you can find all of these songs on our Spotify playlist, which will be in the show notes here. You can also find the video of this on YouTube and on Substack if you're not already watching it. And if you are, hi. You can find Bruce at all times at Some Velvet Blog, and you can find me at Yo That's My Jawn on the socials. And you can hear Bruce every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WXPN, and you can listen to me on Why Not Radio every other Monday, and of course the Yo That's My Jawn podcast, which, like I said, I got to stock a bunch of interviews up because
you got it, dude. You got it. So wait, March is when the kid is coming?
March 6th is the tentative due date.
All right.
Yeah. And I'm pulling for March 8th, and the only reason I say this is 3826 was the last four digits of my phone number growing up. And if this kid is born on the same day, well, I'm not a numbers guy, but that's pretty cool.
I would play that every day.
Yeah,
definitely.
man.
All right, Native Phonic.
Yes, so let everybody know about this show if you haven't already, and thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Come on, hang with me, Bruce. Too old, too new, we're the truth.